right here on Penn's Peak Radio, and we also heard some Dale Scott, yeah, it's one of those days, Dylan Scott, called My Girl, right here on Penn's Peak Radio. Oh, this is going to be fun. I can't talk now. It's the second hour of the show. Very excited to have on board another great guest, another lovely lady in the country music industry, hailing from Columbia, Tennessee. She's got quite a busy life, busy career, and a fun story, and I'm looking forward to finding out all about this girl. She's on board with the Wall to Wall Country Show right now. Please welcome Miss Brenda Lynn Allen. Hey, Brenda Lynn, how are ya?
Hey, I'm wonderful. Thank you for that awesome introduction. Thank you. I'm happy to be talking with you guys today.
Well, we're glad to have you here. You know, I always like to, it's one thing to, have the opportunity to talk to some classic artists who've been around the block and just really, got a ton of notches on their belt. But then I also like to talk to some of the other side, some folks that are just getting started or a little bit more younger in the business, because it's kind of two completely different feels depending on, where you guys are coming from and your experiences and things like that. But,
yeah.
and I read a little bit about your background, which I find very, very interesting and very admirable, by the way, which we'll get into in just a minute. But let's start out with giving the listening audience a little bit of background of, you're already coming from Tennessee, so you've kind of been surrounded by music. You understood, the whole Nashville scene fairly young, but not everybody turns to music and becomes a country music star. So,
yep.
Go ahead. How did your story get started?
I was born and raised in Columbia, where I still live now, which is just 45 minutes south of Nashville. And I grew up around this, and I always loved traditional country music. You played an Ernest Tubb song a few minutes ago. That was really awesome to hear that. Ernest Tubb was one of my first influences when I was a kid. I loved listening to Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn, and I remember watching Coal Miner's Daughter one time, and I could hear Walking the Floor. I think in the story she was playing it on her radio with her family, and I turned to my mom and I said, "What's that sound? I love that." And I was hearing the sound of like a steel guitar, and I just loved it. So yeah, I came from a musical family. We always played music for fun. My dad used to play professionally. He played the harmonica years ago, probably when he was my age more. But I always grew up listening to music and grew up in a family where they really encouraged us to do what we wanted to do. So I used to sing for anybody that would listen.
That's awesome. And, but you've had some other careers and other jobs before you got into music. And because of that experience, you ended up co-writing a really good song for an upcoming band at the time?
Yes, we were. I worked almost 11 years as a activity professional in long-term care, and I worked with people that were in a center for rehab after having surgeries, but also I worked with quite a bit of people that were suffering with dementia. Mm-hmm. And so I loved that. I loved that job. I did it for years, and I was also pursuing music part-time. And I kept doing a job I loved while doing music, and the two really went hand in hand because I could do a lot of music therapy in my job, and I was around a lot. My job was to entertain half the time, and book entertainment, and it was also to provide one-on-one visits in patient rooms. And a lot of times I would use music to reach people. And so I kept doing that job and music until I couldn't balance the two anymore. And then I went part-time at my job about a year and a half ago. And then I stepped away from it completely back in the spring to go full force with the music after the album came out. So, so yeah, I've always enjoyed the job because I could incorporate so much music into it. So I've been doing it for a long time. It's just now I'm doing the music full-time and part-time, really. It takes up quite a few hours, but it's awesome.
Now, you write you either write or you co-write some of your own music, and some of your experiences from being a nurse or in the long-term care profession, and that plays a part. You write about some of your experiences and things along that line, all right? That's where you get your inspiration from.
Yes, a lot of my music, a lot of my writing is inspired by the job I had at the nursing home. And the title cut for the new album, Better, was written by me and another really great writer. His name's Dan Zolan. And, we wrote it. We wrote it with the idea that I think the first line is a simple smile, just the little things that make other people's lives better. So it could be about the person at the coffee shop. It could be about your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
But we went to a writing session, and we started that song pretty easily and had it mostly written. And I went to work that next week, and we had another writing session scheduled a week later. And the day of the writing session, one of the patients came into my office, and she was talking about how me and a few other of the staff that were there, how we helped make her day better.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I hope I do that for you all,
Mm-hmm.
and we, because she didn't want to just feel like it was all one-sided. And that just really hit me. And when when I went to the writing session that night, we finished the song in just 3 minutes because I think the bridge is what we finished, and it was, I hope that what you do for me, I do for you too. So it was definitely inspired by that job and that work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, actually, there's 3 songs on the album that were inspired by that job. And one of them I think you're going to play today, but it's about the power of music and how it's amazing what a song can do. In all my years of dementia education, I learned a lot of things. I always tell people I forgot more than I remembered, which is kind of funny. But the coolest thing I ever learned is that we don't lose music, because where Alzheimer's or any other type of dementia affects our brain, that disease, it doesn't harm the side that listens to music as much. So when you can't reach somebody with other things, you can reach them through music, and it can bring back memories and responses from people that you wouldn't get from other things. So to me, it's just truly a magical thing.
Now that's the education of dementia or Alzheimer's or all that. That's also one of those things that you use as educational if you're called upon, as far as like maybe an effort raising kind of thing, or like you said,
Yes.
an educational kind of thing. Is that one of those specific type, whatever you want to call it, organizations or ideas that is kind of close to your heart? If you're ever asked to say, listen, would you sing for this or sing for that, or would you come out and entertain these people or those people? I would expect that that's one of them that are on the top of the list that you never say no to.
It definitely is. I've kept my certifications in the field, and I'm going to keep those up. And I'm continuing to write songs that educate about dementia and about interacting with people that are suffering from it, because there's a really great need for that out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed there's a lot of awareness about raising money to cure it, but while we're trying to figure out a way to cure it, everybody still has to deal with it and keep people happy. So I think there's more of a need right now to teach families and caregivers, how to really deal with it, because it is a reality. And so I actually I educate at organizations like churches that have dementia support groups, or meetings, just wherever I can. And I'm actually working on building a program that's a little bit more solid. I'm working on the songs, but I want to really get that out there. And they basically public speak through music about it. So in addition to doing the Nashville recording thing, which I love so much and it's always been my dream, this is another dream I have, and trying to make it happen.
Now, how did that start? Did you have someone in your family who was afflicted with it and felt the frustration and all that of not knowing what to do, or is it just part of how your career ended up going when you were in the medical field? How did that become such a passion for you?
No, it really fell. It was a gift from God to me, because I was in college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was a musical theater major at the time, and just because I had to choose something, then I switched to sociology, switched to elementary education, and I just still wanted to do music. And I just kept pulling away from college. I would drop out, go back in, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was just kind of looking for a job, and my mom found an ad in the paper that said recreation assistant, activity assistant, and I didn't know what it was about. So I went up to a nursing home here in the area, and I applied for this job. And the girl that was the recreation coordinator at the time, we graduated high school together, and she said, I'll hire you if you sing for these people. I remember you singing in school. So that's how I got the job. And I worked part-time for about a year, and I ended up just falling in love with it and the people and just the whole thing. And I ended up doing it for longer than I had planned, but I loved it so much, and I learned so much. And to me, it was the best college I could have ever gone to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it fell in my lap.
I mean, and it's admirable that you didn't just use it as a quick stepping stone, that you took it as far as you could. You used your talent, or you used your gift to help these people and things along that line. Is that well known about your music? Is that something that people, your fans, know, that if they have a struggle, or if they have a question, or they hear a song, is it something that they reach out to you with questions and maybe advice? Is that something that you find people do connect to with your music?
Yes. There was a time about, I don't know, I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, I used to keep the things separate. I would keep, what I did during the day separate from my music, and it just kept merging. It just kept coming closer together. And now I make it a point, no matter where I perform, even at smallest venues, it doesn't matter. Songwriters Night, I always mention it, because that thing I just told you about music and how it affects, it's pretty much magical, because we listen to it with a different area of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody always comes up to me afterwards, no matter how small, and they say, I got a family member, or I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me that. And it's just, this is common knowledge to me, because I've been doing it for years, and it was really eye-opening when I went out there and started mentioning this to just basically introduce the song.
Mm-hmm.
I really seen the need for the education, and it seems to help people. So I have definitely incorporated everything I was doing there into what I'm doing now, because, it's just who I am in both areas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No, that's pretty interesting that people are recognizing that and seeing it and being able to reach out. Sometimes, you don't know where to turn to get answers. And if you're frustrated and you don't know how to, help somebody who's in that situation, for you to be able to say little things like that, it's like, well, music sometimes helps. If they're upset or they're very, maybe agitated, play some music.
Right.
It's just like bringing puppies into a senior citizen home, or, whatever. It's just one of those things that people may not think it's such an easy answer to help that helps, playing music, singing music, putting something.
And for you and me who deal with music every single day, that might be our first go-to, but for somebody that doesn't, it's eye-opening to them. So,
yeah. Yeah. Or just the opposite, too. It's like, God, I listen to music all day long and every day, and I got to, and it's like, this is your career. So sometimes it's like, I need to step away, I just need to go home in my car in silence, so, for you to think that there's something that, you kind of look at as a job, or, that's like you said, one part of your life, for you to be able to go, wow, this answer might be just as simple as something that you look at as a different perspective. So I think bringing that to light, and like you said, educating people on some of the things that they can do that might reach those people who are just struggling with memories or recognition of people. I had a grandmother who went through it, and my mom passed away, and it was her mom, short story. And every time I walked in there, she wanted to know where her daughter was. And every time I walked in there, I had to say, well, Mom's gone. Mom passed away. And, she'd go through the whole getting upset, and I'd have to go through all that again. And it was very, very trying to, knew that every time I walked in there, she wanted to know where her daughter was.
Right.
So it can
and that's
be
what a lot of families are going through, and they don't know what to do,
Yeah.
And like you said, it puts that person through that over and over, and that's partly what the songs that I'm writing are about, ways to deal with that.
Right.
But it's unique to every situation too. You know your family member, better than anybody else. So yeah, it's still individualized and unique to everybody. But,
well, one of the songs, speaking of your music, one of the songs that you but I kind of have to giggle a little bit because I'm like, yeah, some of these people might think that they're going out of their mind dealing with this, and
I am.
one of your songs is I'm not out of my mind. Okay. It's like, I have no idea if it has anything to do. But maybe you can enlighten us because I'm thinking, because sometimes you would think it's like, oh my God, I'm going to go out of my mind. I'm going to go out of my mind with this. I don't know what to do. But whatever.
Right. Oh, you got quite a sense of humor. I love it.
However, maybe that has nothing to do with this song. So why don't you give us a little story about what I'm not going out of my mind is all about?
Right. Okay. It has nothing to do with this. Like I said, both kind of are hand in hand. I also absolutely love traditional country music, and I do a lot of work with musicians that have played that music because that was their era. And like Loretta Lynn's original band, I do some things with the original Coal Miner Band, and actually there's a Loretta track on the CD where they're playing on it. But anyway, my point to that was that I love traditional country sound. And this song, I'm Not Out of My Mind, I did not write this, but a really great songwriter out of Illinois wrote this song, and his name's Bobby Fricks. And I met him about 2 years ago. I heard about 15 seconds of this song before I fell in love with it. And then I just had to record it. And usually when I go to record a song, it's either one that I wrote, co-wrote, or a cover song that I feel people would really appreciate, But with this, it was a song I'd never heard before and loved it so much I just had to record it. And I'm so glad I did because I ended up getting not just a great song and a great co-writer, a new co-writer friend, but just an awesome, awesome friend in my life. So, my friend Bobby Fricks wrote I'm Not Out of My Mind, and it's a lot. Are you going to play it?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think we should give the folks a little listen to, something that you do. This is also off of a brand new album. And by the way, we're going to come back. Will you have a little bit more time, Brenda Lynn?
I've got as much time as you have, Casey.
Awesome. We're going to come back. And actually, we're going to play one of the cuts off of her album. But we're going to talk about that album and how people can find out more about it and how they can get your hands on your music when we come back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with more Brenda Lynn Allen in just a minute, and her song, it's called I'm Not Out of My Mind. So don't go anywhere. More great country music coming your way right here on Wall to Wall Country. That's right. It's where rock and country collide. But we're all about the country right here on Wall to Wall Country at the moment. And you just heard a little tune back there from Miss Brenda Lynn Allen. A little something called I'm Not Out of My Mind. And Brenda, I got to tell you, I think you nailed it when you were going for the classic sound with the steel in there and the crying steel and all that. I mean, it was good. It was very good.
Thank you so much. The album was produced by Doyle Grisham, and he's a steel guitarist. He's actually not the steel player on that track, but he produced the album, and Doyle plays steel guitar for Jimmy Buffett, and when he's not producing. And Russ Hicks is the steel guitarist on that track, and Russ was a player in Barefoot Jerry. I don't know if you remember that band, or if you ever heard of them, but big Nashville band back in the 70s, and and he played for Connie Smith, Ray Price, and played on a lot of country records. So, I was very happy with the way that turned out, and the whole album, actually.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much.
I like it. And it does. It gives you kind of that throwback feeling, of the big dance halls and the couples kind of dancing together, and the band up on stage, and it just did. It just has that feel about it. And I have to say, if that's what you were going for, I think you really nailed it on that one for sure.
Well, thank you. The writer Bobby Fricks that I mentioned, he wrote that song 25 years ago.
Okay.
Nobody's ever recorded it, and I loved it. And I mean, my friend told me about the song when he heard it. He only heard it one time, and he was like, I can't believe no one's recorded this,
Yeah.
And this is a guy that's not a country artist. He just knew that it was a really great song, and came and told me about it. But thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you for playing it.
Sure. So now let's delve a little bit deeper into this album. Is this a debut album for you that you've got the 14 songs on?
Yeah, it's got 14 songs, and it's actually my second album. Russ Hicks, that played steel guitar on that song that you just heard, he produced my first one about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's been a while. I've been overdue for one for a few years, but yeah. So this is my second one, and yeah, I'm just excited about it. It just came out in late spring, and yeah, we're just getting it out there. So.
All right, so this is a little something called Better. It's got 14 songs on it, co-written or written by you, except for that one. Everything from, like you said, that traditional country sound. You got some newer stuff, a little bit faster stuff on there. You've got some great musicians on there as well. And how can people get their hands on it? Where can they find it? Is it all electronic? Do you got hard copies? Tell my folks how they can get their hands on it if they're digging it.
Okay, well, thank you. It's going to be online very soon. It's going to take about another week before it's available online.
Okay.
But anybody can call into the Ernest Tubb Record Shop in Nashville and get a physical copy of it right now. But if people want to follow me on my music page, that's the best way to keep up. And I'm going to let everybody know the very second that it's available online. And it's Brenda Lynn Allen Music is my Facebook page. And yeah. Well, we're getting it out there very soon, so.
That's a good way to reach out to you. And I checked out your Facebook page, and I liked your Facebook page and all that kind of stuff. That's also a good way for people to reach out to you if they do have questions, or they're, maybe after hearing the interview, they're like, well, maybe you can help them with something, like you said, you're kind of doing that crossover, a little education, a little information, pointing people maybe in a little bit better direction if they're a little bit lost, but also able to get your hands on their music. Facebook open to any kind of potential question for you?
Yes, please message me, because if I don't know the answer, I may be able to put you in touch with somebody that does.
Okay.
So, like I say, I try to stay up on this stuff. So I wanted to mention to you, when we were talking about the music and the power of music earlier, there's a wonderful organization called musicandmemory.org, and what they do is they use iPods. You can get, like, a nursing home can get certified in music and memory, and they basically make personalized iPods for each person, and man, the effects are awesome. You can check out their website sometime and read all about it, but when you find music from that person's era, their favorite songs, that's where the responses come out. You can't necessarily go play rock for somebody who loves classical music and
right.
get the same responses, but and that'll let you know more about it. It's a wonderful organization. So
awesome.
If you got old iPods laying around, they can be put to use.
Well, that's good to know. Good to know. And again, that is musicandmemory.org. People can check that out. And, even if it's helping one more person out there, that's kind of what it's all about, And,
exactly.
Just kind of putting something in somebody's hand that they can push a button it kind of makes sense. I mean, sometimes, I hear a song, dating back a little bit, and I'm like, man, I remember when I was in high school, or I was at the prom, or I had this car, So, something as simple as remembering that music does trigger certain memories, you think it would be a no-brainer kind of to do this for these people. But, yeah, I think maybe it's a little overthinking it a little bit, and just kind of going back to some of the basics that actually might be able to help them, which is the music that they knew and loved at a certain period of time, and that might help them remember people, or remember places and things along that line. That's pretty awesome. You've got 14 songs on this album, and another one of them that you and I had talked about a little bit was Amazing What a Song Can Do, speaking of this very, very topic. This is one of those songs that was birthed from your experiences helping these folks out?
Yes, I used to sing, like I said, one-on-one to them in their rooms, and one of our patients that passed away, his family asked me to sing at his funeral service, and they wanted me to sing an original song, and I didn't have anything that was really fitting for the service. I was getting kind of nervous about it because all my original songs were little love songs, and I just didn't feel like they were fitting for that occasion. And since this gentleman loved the old country so much, and I used to sing to him so much in his room, I thought, well, I'll just kind of write about that a little bit, and the amazing effects of music. And I wrote this song just about 2 hours before the service, and I never intended on recording it. It was a very short song. We lengthened it a little bit for recording, and so that's how that one came about. So I call it Uncle Joe's song, because that's what we call him.
Aw.
Thank you.
Going out for Uncle Joe.
Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. I hope his family's listening in.
That's awesome. And, and that's really cool that, you're explaining something and people can follow that journey with that song with you, imagining Uncle Joe sitting there, maybe looking a little down for the day. And then, some of those songs come on and he remembers,
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
And that's just...
His family was real encouraging of me to record that song, and so I was glad that they liked it that much.
Yeah.
So.
And all of this good stuff, folks, is on the Better album. It was released last spring. One of the places you can get your paws on it is Ernest Tubbs' record shop. You can check that out. Or check her out on Facebook if you have questions about how you can get your hands on it. And shortly you'll be able to get it across the electronic billboard of the Amazon, the iTunes, Spotify, whatever you can get it on. You're going to be putting it out there.
Right. It's going to be on everything very soon.
And that's pretty cool. And we've got another tune coming up at the end of the show, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But, Brenda Lynn, what do you got planned? What's coming up? Can you give us a wink, wink, nudge, nudge? I mean, you got this album out. You're going to get out on all the electronic platforms, but you got another one lined up. You're looking at doing some videos, doing some more traveling and touring. What's on the docket for Brenda Lynn Allen?
Yes, all those things, actually. We've already written most of the songs for the next album, and I'm going to start it in the springtime. And so I can't promise when it's going to come out because I thought this one might come out a year ago, and life happens. But yeah, some traveling. I went to Missouri recently, up in the Kansas City area, and there's some venues there that would like to have me back. So I'm working on getting some things together up there. And I was just at the Smoky Mountain Songwriters Festival in East Tennessee, which is about 4 hours from my house, and did that 2 weeks ago. And then there was a venue that wanted me to come back, so I went back to the Smoky Mountains the next week. And it was great. So I do a lot of Middle Tennessee traveling. Mm-hmm. But now that I don't have the regular job through the week, and I did that so that I could travel more. So I'm open to traveling, and I work with Deb Grisham Entertainment. So you check her website out, and she does all the booking stuff, and she books a lot of traditional country artists and artists of all kinds. But yeah, so I'm wanting to do a little bit more. This weekend I'm playing at the steel guitar show in Nashville. Mm-hmm. It's a steel guitar convention that they have every year, and I'm going to be singing with Russ Hicks on that one. And then we got a huge festival this Saturday in Fairview, which is called Nature Fest. So I'm going to be emceeing that show and then also performing for about 45 minutes at that festival. So there's always things coming up, and I try to list everything on Facebook and get it out there. But yeah, I stay pretty busy doing things. There's a lot to do in Middle Tennessee, but I love traveling too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have a lot of great stuff up here in the Northeast as well. If you're ever in the eastern side of the state of Pennsylvania, I always like to open up my doors to all my artists. It'd be awesome for you to swing by someday and doing a little impromptu.
I would love to.
Do a little impromptu stuff. That's always something to keep in the back of your PR department's mind.
Thank you. Hey, I would love to. A few years ago, me and my husband went up to Pennsylvania and to New York with some musician friends, and we seriously just piled in the back of their car, which it's great because my husband's like 6'3". He's a foot taller than I am, and crammed in the back of this little car, and we had all our stuff, and it was a little car. It was great. We just went all the way up to Pennsylvania, and I fell in love with it, all those little towns. That is so awesome up there.
Yep.
And we played at a venue. I can't even remember where it was, but we played up there somewhere, and we threw Rocky Top out there. We thought but it really went over well because y'all don't hear it all the time.
Yeah, I play a little guitar with a small little folk festival group, and that's one that we do. And man, it's one of those that just get the everybody's up and dancing and laughing, and they know the words to it, so it's just one of those,
Yeah.
But
do you ever make it to Tennessee?
Not very often. I have a real job. Those real jobs always get in the way. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
They do. You got a commitment. You got to stay somewhere for 5 days a week. I'm like, what is up with that action? But anyway, so I think you're on the right track. I mean, this album I think is very, very cool. I'd look forward to getting a copy of it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, so that we can get all the tracks out there. What's that?
I will run to the post office tomorrow.
Yeah, get one out there, and for sure, I mean, we always like to play and get these artists out there and get your music out there as well, and we'd be glad to play the rest of the 14 tracks that are on there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and me and you got connected through the Dewdrop Jamboree.
Yes.
Through Larry. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I'm going to be on there again. October 1st. And that's a pretty cool little thing in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Yes.
That they got going on. So, yeah, I'm glad he put me in touch with you. So thank you for playing the music. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, and I look forward to, getting some more folks off that Dewdrop. I just think they're fun, and they have a lot of stuff going on. So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to have him, keep me in mind when he's got other artists that are looking to get out there a little bit. And we're internet, so we're about as out there as you can get.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun there. But so anything else? You want to add anything else and mention anything else? I don't want to keep you too much longer. We are going to play that one more tune at the end, and it is the title track of the album. We're going to play that at the end to remind people to listen in on Sunday, because this entire show re-airs on a Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So you can mention to your Facebook friends and fans that if they missed the interview today, they can catch it pennspeakradio.com, and it'll kick off at 8 a.m. Eastern with the interview in the second hour. So I'll remind people about that at the end of the show by playing the title track. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that song called Better?
Yes, that was written by me and Dan Solon, and that's the one I told you was inspired by the patient that came into my office and said that, thank you for making things better. She was talking to some of the staff members that were in there, and she was really complimentary of us, and she'd had a bad day, and she said, I hope I've done the same for you, instead of the opposite. She felt like she was hindering, but I really felt it strongly, because she did make us better, and it just goes both ways. It's not a one-sided thing.
Right.
And with so many situations, it's not one-sided, and just like the song says, just the simplest things, can make your day better. You can turn someone's whole day around sometimes with just a kind word.
Sure.
So that's basically all that song is, just a simple little message, but feel very passionately about it. So I just really appreciate you doing this and what you do for artists. And I'm an unsigned artist, and I've never went out seeking a label. I just wanted to put the music out there, put the kind of music I wanted to put out there, and just do it, all independently. And with stations like you all that support independent artists, you make it possible for us to do this. So please know that you're making things better for a lot of people, and you're bringing them all kinds of music. So we appreciate you.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I always say, it's like you said, it's a two-way street. Without artists, I wouldn't have a job. If there wasn't anybody out there singing music, I wouldn't have a job. So
we all need each other.
Yeah. And, and if you're an independent artist, just a little quick mention here. We have a brand new show that started here. We're syndicating right out of Nashville, a little something called New Country Brew with Bill Hughes. He interviews all kinds of independent artists only, FYI.
Oh, cool.
So you might want to check that out, maybe get a little bit of airplay with him. He's got his show out there on a couple other different stations, including ours. But check into New Country Brew, Mr. Bill Hughes, and I will mention you to him as well. Trying again, making that little network connection. And
thank you. I appreciate that.
I will
definitely look him up.
He's all about the independent artists and helping you guys get out there. So he's a very sweet man. So I think you guys would have a great connection, and you'd be able to tell your story on his show and get it out there just that much more. And that's kind of what we do. So
awesome. Thank you. I stopped by a radio station recently, and I do a lot of radio, especially for some people think, if you're not signed, you can't get radio play. But it's actually very, very accessible now, more than it's ever been, I think.
Yeah.
And I stopped by a station recently, and they were absolutely loving that we just stopped by. They said, this is what country music was based off of. They said, This is it. And I was inspired to do that by Loretta Lynn, one of my heroes, watch the movie Coal Miner's Daughter and study her story, and that's what they did, back then. And think people haven't changed that much,
Well, yeah, I mean,
people are pretty accepting of it.
And knocking on the door, man. I mean, that's kind of how it had to get out there. You just got to go out and knock on the door and sell your product, and your product is great country music. And, that's what it's all about. So, I really appreciate you taking the time, Brenda Lynn, and I wish you all the best of luck. And keep in mind, when you do get that new album out there, or if you do something new and exciting, or if you happen to be traveling up here to Northeast PA, please do stay in touch. You have my cell, keep in touch. Let me know what's going on. And we'd always love to I always invite my artists back. You got something new and exciting you want to get out there? You want to get some more of your music out there, something that you got going on? You get your organization that you're working with the Alzheimer's or the dementia organization. Let us know about it. We'd be glad to get it out there for you and help spread the word.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem.
I'll take you up on it.
Well, I'm telling you, you got my number. You know how to reach me, so no problem. Anything else you want to throw out there real quickly before I cut you loose?
Not that I can think of. Just visit me on Facebook. That's where I love to, communicate with people. It's Brenda Lynn Allen Music on Facebook.
There you go. Brenda Lynn Allen Music on Facebook to find out when her album is going to be out there on all the electronic platforms. It's a little something called Better, released this past spring. Check it out. All the great songs that are on there. You can hear some of the ones that you've already heard today. Amazing What a Song Can Do. I'm Not Out of My Mind. And one more yet to come, a little something called Better, which is, of course, the title to the album itself. Brenda Lynn, take care, girl, and be true to yourself and keep doing what you're doing. We love you, and we wish you all the best, and stay in touch, okay?
All right. You have a great day. Thank you, Casey.
Take care, dear. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.